Today I'm going to talk to you about everything I've tried to improve my libido. But before, let me introduce myself. I'm Sophie. This is my first video. And of course, if you like it, thumbs up, subscribe, whatever helps me with the algorithms. Okay, so my libido has been down and I've tried many things so far. First I've tried is going to my doctor and getting some hormones prescribed. That did not work. I've been taking hormones for now at least 4 months and I don't see any improvement. So I've tried something else. I ordered this, which is called a yoni egg. It is to improve the love muscle. Of course, there's nothing bad about being more muscular, but it does not bring back the fire. I'm reading the book Slow Sex, which I think is a great book, but I'm too slow, so I don't have so much to tell you about it yet. Another thing I've done is I booked a chiropractor that specializes in a technique that's quite rare. It's called Amaral, and we can see that technique in the series Goop Lab on Netflix. So if I can bring my camera to the session, I will do so and I'll be able to share it. But so far, I haven't gone yet. But there's one thing I've done that seemed to be working, and is to hire a sex therapist. At first, what she made sure I understood was certain terms, because that affects my sexuality. And one of them was consentment. Consentment is 3 things. Consentment has to be a choice that you are aware, you're wise about your choice. Secondly, it's a choice that you're enthusiastic about. And thirdly, it's a choice of liberty. You're free to make that choice. She also mentioned pleasure. What is the contrary to pleasure? It's obligation and pressure. The feminine sacred is the power to create, to be happy, to be oneself, to be free. And you need to respect your feminine sacred. And without respecting that, you are violating your feminine sacred. And so you need to honor your feminine sacred or re-honor your feminine sacred. Now, just by doing something that you don't want to do, already you're not honoring your feminine sacred. And pleasure will be lost and your libido will go down. So this is very important. First thing she had me try as a sensual experiment was to learn to live in the present moment, which I thought was very hard because I work with checklists, to-do lists. And so I'm not very good at it, but I'm working on it every single day. Second was to learn about sensate focus, which is the video of today, sensate focus. It's a technique that is proven to work and is taught by most sex therapists to bring back the libido. And so I'm going to share it with you. And it's obviously you need your partner for this. What sensate focus is supposed to bring back is the well-being of your sensuality as a couple. Now, it's quite complicated, so I will make rules just to be able to follow them. It's divided in 4 steps. Each step has 6 to 12 sessions. And you cannot move to the next step until you've done at least 6 sessions. You need to be at least 3 times a receiver and 3 times a giver to be able to move on to the next step. Also, to move on to step number 2, you need to be able to be naked, to feel good in your nudity. If not, you stay at step 1 until you feel comfortable and go at your own pace. Sex is prohibited 2 hours before and 2 hours after each session. It is also recommended not to talk. So if something feels uncomfortable, what is recommended is to touch the other person, just so that it is clear that you don't like a certain thing. Each session lasts 20 to 45 minutes. And then you move on to the being the giver or the receiver. So you're 20 minutes at least the receiver and 20 minutes at least the giver. Also, you need to be in a space where you're not being disturbed. It is recommended to establish a ritual. So for example, at the beginning of each session, you turn off your phone, then you give each other a hug, and then you start your session. So at the end, to make sure that you do full circle, you do the reverse. So you give each other a hug, then you turn on your phone. Also, at the end of each session, it's very important to come back and talk to each other to know how the other person felt. And so it's very important to improve your communication between the partners. It's one of the goals. Now, the steps. The first one, the intention needs to be exploration. And there's no genitals being touched. So basically, you touch your partner for 20 minutes minimum, and you touch however you want. It could be very lightly, it can be a massage, it can be a little bit smoother, however you want it. You can have feathers, you can have oil, creams, whatever. But at least 20 minutes of that. After you've been 3 times the receiver and 3 times the giver, you're allowed to move on to step number 2, which is the same thing, exploration, but with genitals. So there is exploration only, no sexuality, no sensuality, just exploration. Now it's again all the touching involved. The third step is the same thing, but with a goal of sensuality and sexuality. So 20 minutes receiver, 20 minutes giver, but in the third one, penetration is not allowed. Okay, 4th step. Everything is allowed. Everything you want is allowed. But 20 minutes receiver, 20 minutes giver. Again, this technique, sensate focus, is taught supposedly around the world by sex therapists, and it's proven to work. So I would love to know what you think about it, what you've tried, if it worked, in the comments below. And I will also put a short version of everything I've said so that you can follow along very easily.